Keeping the draft profiles rolling, looking at those Crevonte, we're looking at potentially the number one guy in the class, Quinyon Mitchell, out of Toledo. Love hearing schools that you don't normally hear have superstar caliber players. In this case, Toledo, the 6 foot senior, 31-inch arms, 9 and 1/4 inch hands, 195 pounds. These corners are less than 200 pounds soaking wet, Crevonte. He did run a 40. He ran a 4.33 4.33 40, 38-inch vertical, 10.2 broad jump, 20 bench press reps. Not bad for a cornerback. Played in all 6 games at reserve, 7 tackles. 2021, 13 games, 34 tackles, 1 sack, 8 PBUs, and a forced fumble. 2022, third team All American, first team All MAC. Led the FBS with 25 passes defended, 5 interceptions, and a school record 20 PBUs. In 2023, second team Associated Press All American, first team All MAC, 18 PBUs. Started all 13 games, 40 tackles, interception, another block kicked for one of these guys, and school record was 46 pass breakups, PBUs. Crevonte, that seems like when he gets around the football, he's knocking it away.
He's when you say he's possibly one of the best, he might very well be. He's a very elite athlete, and also he ran a little track in high school as well. So he is an elite level athlete.
We talk about the elite level athletes. We see Nate Wiggins run a 4.28. You see Mitchell run a 4.33. You got to be sub fours to be a corner in this league. And Crevonte, I know you were trying to find a player comp. What do you think he compares to or projects to in the NFL, and where could you see him going?
Yeah. So I have I have a couple comps as well. Could you also pull up the bottom half of the draft order?
Sure. So
Um,
we can start with, we can go to,
but as far as player comps, he reminds me of a Keith to lead man. He also reminds me of a guy that we was looking at, and we did. I'm almost certain we did a profile on last year, and Mr. Witherspoon, the first cornerback that came off the board, the same draft as Gonzalez and Forbes, but he did Witherspoon went in the earlier part of the draft. Surprisingly, but not surprisingly. So those are some guys that he kind of reminds me of, just tough, and a little bit of Reeves too, because they're tough. These are all tough guys at how they carry themselves, but they can still run, they can cover, and tough. Like, this is you putting all the great things you want in a cornerback, and you got Mr. Mitchell here.
yeah, speaking of draft order, I guess we can start with 17 Jacksonville, 18 Cincinnati, 19 the Rams, 20 Pittsburgh, 21 Miami, 22 Philly. Minnesota has 2 first round picks with 23, and Cowboys at 24, and Green Bay at 25. So just looks like he's going to be the first cornerback taken. So we'll see him probably in the top 20, 25.
Yeah. I listen. I talk about the Steelers a lot, but only when I see toughness. That's the only time when I talk about the pretty much anybody AFC North, but definitely the Ravens and the Steelers. You have you can just tell when you see a certain player play. He looks like a Raven. He looks like a Steeler. You know what I'm saying? He looks like he's going to play in the AFC North, or something like that. But you said the Dolphins. The Dolphins cut Xavier Howard. So possibly maybe an opportunity, but again, if we're saying, if I feel like he's probably the best cornerback in the draft. I think generally speaking, with all of his characteristics, I feel like he's probably one at worst. Yo, Byron, can you
Yeah,
hear me?
I got you. I got you. I can hear you.
Oh,
You broke
okay.
up.
Yeah. So with his characteristics, He's probably gonna be the first one off the board at worst too. But if we dive into it, has exceptional field vision and zone coverage, elite level ball skills, and that's something that you need to be top notch, and you need to find your way around the ball, especially if you're going to be cornerback number one. You need to find your way around the ball and stay around the ball because that's how you get paid too. You know what I'm saying? So, um, ball skills among the elite. Um, it looks natural. And that's when I talk about people like Keith Talib. It looks like he belongs there, like he was made to play cornerback. Um, natural instincts, ball skills. Had a nice a number of pass deflections and interceptions. So getting your having the ball skills and getting your hands on the ball is number one pretty much when it comes to corner. Um, Comfortable in both man and zone. That's another thing. You could be able to switch it up. It won't be man all the time. He could be in zone. So he's good to great in both. Um, he shows an exceptional aptitude for zone schemes. So in zone, you have to be able to read and react. I was talking about that with Nate Wiggins being able to recognize certain route combinations because it's really and truthfully in man your your um your job, your duty is already given to you. Your duty's in front of you, and that's it. But in zone, you got to be disciplined in your feet. You got to be disciplined in your eyes for it to work. Because if a portion, if even just one portion of the zone falls, then the whole defense is up. You know what I'm saying? So um, he's really good at that. Exceptional quickness and burst, and is great at with closing the gap and recovery. Listen, cornerbacks, you do a lot of backpedaling, a lot of recovering. So him running a 4-3-3 is great. Just like the brother Nate Wiggins, 4-2-4-2-8. It ain't gonna be he not gonna have too many people running by him.
Now, I want to ask you because these things come to me as I think I'm not going to say Toledo's a small school, but they play in a smaller known conference. They play in the MAC, and they usually play on like weird nights of the week too. By the way, like Tuesdays and Thursdays, weird. Um, how do you feel about the small school guys or a guy like this at a small school? The level of competition, does that scare you? Even though he is the number one corner and has all the attributes and skills, and the production is there, so that has to translate. You think in the NFL?
So and it's funny because I just knew we was gonna have to transfer over to the weakness part of this, and I don't want to call it a weakness, but it is a concern. Level of competition is a lot. If you're not in the Big Ten or the SEC, you need to blow folks away. You know what I'm saying? But I think that is something that Kenyon Mitchell does well for him not to be in the Big Ten or the SEC or to have that level of competition. Him showing the type of technique is what you need. If he hones in on his technique, I think I think it'll translate no matter what, especially if you get with a DB coach or a defensive coordinator that could utilize him. But I think his skills and speed will translate at the next level. The one knock, and we have to nitpick when we're talking about the best, and that I think that is one of the few things that is concerning for him because like Toledo, you know what I'm saying. Um, but him being very physical with wide receivers is great and outstanding. Um, Tackling, again, nitpicking, tackling running backs in open field. You know what I'm saying. But if I have to nitpick, because it's not many negative things, but again, I need my cornerback to make business decisions. Remember, Deion Sanders talked about that in his playing days. Hey, listen, I'm not sticking my head in everyone. Every now and then, I be in there, But no, I make my money back there. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where Mr. Mitchell is gonna be able to make his money as well.
Does the frame concern you before we wrap it up? Under 200 pounds?
They all concern me. All the corners. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think any of them is 200, but the length is important. The length is important, and again, sometimes you gotta make business decisions. Every running back is not meant to be tackled right here. You know what I'm saying? Like he's gonna make his money in coverage. Now, um, so pretty much saying, and this is for all of our cornerbacks that we've talked about thus far, they all could put on a few more pounds, especially those that run the sub 4.3s. You know what I'm saying? You can put in a little bit more. But I think this might be the number one corner in the draft.
It'll be interesting to see how the positions play out after we get through the first 3 or 4 with the quarterbacks and that whole carousel that it'll be. And the 20 reps of bench press is impressive as well, so he has his strength also. Any final thoughts on Quinyon Mitchell before we wrap it up?
Oh, I missed that. What was his
20,
you say
20,
his
20
bench
reps.
press?
20 reps. 20 reps. Yeah.
Well, I guess that gives him the reason to be a little bit over aggressive with these receivers because how many DBs put up 20?
Yeah,
How many?
absolutely.
Not
Yes.
me. A lot of them don't even, because that's not something that's a dire need, but just to show that you could do it is a little bit, brings a little bit extra to it. So I mean, Kenyon Mitchell might be that guy.
Well, Crevonte, you're that guy. We'll be back with more draft profiles here on the Flex Zone podcast. Only place giving you that draft coverage how you want it, Crevonte.
When you need it.
Stay tuned for more right here on the Flex Zone podcast.